Hey everyone, I'm Stephanie, and I believe that the right book at the right time can change lives, and that all readers should read children's literature, especially adults. So that's what we do here on the KidLit Love podcast. We celebrate all things children's literature: picture books, early readers, middle grade, and young adult novels for readers of all ages. In each episode, we'll talk with children's literature authors and discuss their books, their hopes, their dreams for readers, their writing process, and much, much more. Whether you're an adult reading to their inner child or connecting the young readers in your life with fantastic books, you've come to the right place. So grab a notebook to build your TBR, and let's get to today's episode of KidLit Love. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the KidLit Love podcast. I'm Stephanie Affinito, your KidLit loving host, inviting you back to another bookish conversation with a children's literature author. Today, I'm talking with Katherine Schwarzenegger Pratt. Katherine is a New York Times bestselling author who's here to celebrate her most recent picture book release, Cat and Brandy. It's an inspiring, empowering, and heartwarming tale about the powerful connection between animals and humans and the enduring friendships that can change a child's life. I can't wait to talk about this beautiful no picture book, so we're going to get right to the episode. Katherine, welcome to KidLit Love. I'm so glad you're here today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I always love when I can share in the launch of a new picture book, and we're literally talking. This episode will be released the day before your book birthday. So
I know.
congratulations on your newest one coming
Oh,
out.
thank you so much. I'm so excited. I know it's coming out tomorrow for when this episode launches. So I'm
Yeah,
excited.
it's good. It's good news. Well, before we talk about that beautiful book, I would love for you to just give us a little bit about you and your journey, and especially your journey coming through children's literature now.
Yeah, my name is Katherine. I am a mom and also an author. I have three little kids and also an older stepson. And this is my third children's book, which I'm so excited about. And I've also written adult books. And for me, the children's books are just so amazing to be able to do and also so special, especially now that I'm a mom. I did my first children's book before I even had kids. And this book is really, I feel like, especially this book is very special because my kids are 5 and 3, and then I have a baby. But I was able to really do a lot of trial runs on my kids
Yeah.
to get this book to the place that it is today of being one that talks, not only about the healing power of animals, but really is a story about a little girl overcoming her fears. And it talks about bravery and courage. And so, as a mom to two little girls, it was really important to me to tell that story and have that theme be one that we read about and we talk about, and also a book that I always keep in mind the questions that will come up when
Mhm.
somebody reads a book to kids. So I kept those in mind when writing this book, because those are great prompts for a lot of people to have conversations about topics that are sometimes tricky to navigate, like how do you work through your fears, or what is bravery, what does it mean to be courageous, and so I feel like this book really does that in such a beautiful way, and does it also while celebrating animals in people's lives. And this one is about a horse and a girl, but it's not just talking about horses. It's really shining a light on just animals and the presence of animals in our lives overall. So it's been a really fun journey for me to get this book out, and to also to do it kind of aligned with my girls growing up, and
Yeah.
also benefiting from just being in the presence of animals and also having conversations with them about fears and working through them. So it's been really fun. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
There's something just magical about the kinds of conversation a picture book can open up
Mhm.
between caregivers and children. I swear it's just something that when that book opens up and the attention goes off of the people and onto the page, the story just allows you to have conversations and to connect in a way that you might not be able to as easily on the page. And I feel like your book does that beautifully. And in my I'll put in air quotes, my real job, I'm a professor of teacher education. I teach children's literature. I talk about how books are tools for healing and for growth and for all of the things. And as I was reading your book, I just kept thinking this is one of those books. This is
Oh,
one
that
of
makes me so
those,
happy.
yeah, in so many ways. I mean, we could go in the avenue of the connection between mom and daughter. We could go animals
Mhm.
and kids. We could go being afraid of your dreams. We could go who believes in you and do you believe in yourself? There were just so many opportunities, I think, for these really beautiful conversations to happen, as you said, at a young age, when knowing this and feeling this could literally be the thing that changes everything.
Yeah, and it was also, I really, it means so much to me to hear you say that because it was definitely, at the top of my mind when writing this book and doing the edits for this book, and also when working with Petra Brown, the illustrator, to create illustrations that allowed children to look at them and just kind of let their minds wander and to dream with these pictures. An illustrator has such a powerful ability to be able to do that. And I really am so grateful that Petra Brown had the time to work on this book with me because I think she did such a great job creating these beautiful illustrations that also, allow kids to continue to think about them and dream with them as they go about their day and also their night and dream on. And yeah, I mean, all those themes that you mentioned in this book were ones that I was very intentional about and were really important to me to have be part of this book. And also just the importance and power of being outside in nature was another one. And then also the power of a shared activity between a parent or caregiver and a child. That's also, a really important thing. And that can be, reading a book together. It can be going on a walk in nature. It can be, going on a treasure hunt. It can be doing, riding a bike, playing basketball. It could be doing so many things, but just that gift of being able to spend quality time with your child or a child because it really does allow for so many natural and organic conversations to come up that otherwise are tricky to bring up. And that's one of the goals with this book was really allowing the prompt of, talking about being afraid of something or, how do you pick yourself back up after you fall off? Those kinds of larger themes that are talked about in this book.
Yeah. Let's give listeners a little more preview into the book.
Mm.
Kat and Brandy. I love that it starts with a letter to readers. It just instantly feels so personal. So I'd love for you to give a little overview for listeners who haven't seen the book yet, and maybe a little bit on the why, because you do have some personal, you're stamped on the pages.
Yes, sure. Yeah, and for me, really writing children's books and books in general it's a huge joy for me to be able to do. And also, each theme and book really comes to me based on just living life. And also, um, I try my hardest to put books out there that have positive messages, especially for children, and that teach positive lessons that allow for, important conversations to come up between children and adults and that have positive messaging overall. So that's always at the top of my mind when creating these books, and definitely this one in particular. So I'll just preface it by saying that. This book is, you'll see the cover has a picture of a little girl and a pony on it. And it's a book that is based off of my experience when I was younger of being afraid of horses, being afraid of riding because I fell off, and really developing this very deep and amazing bond with a pony named Brandy who came into my life with a very troubled past. And her and I had to really work through fears together and earn each other's trust. And that came from a lot of time and patience and energy and love and caretaking. And I am so grateful for that relationship because it really allowed me to literally and figuratively get up after I fell off and put myself back on a horse and try again. And I think that that really translated over into my life overall of, understanding and learning the importance of if you fall down, get up and try again. And that was something my mom really taught me at a very early age, and one that I learned over and over again with horses, but also just in life in general. And I wrote this book to, talk about the healing power of animals. For me, in this book, it was a pony, but I think it's really important to make it clear that you don't have to benefit from the healing power of animals with a horse. It can come from a fish, a rabbit, a dog, a cat, a goat, a chicken, like any sort of animal. Just the presence of animals in our lives is such a huge gift and provides us with this incredible unconditional love and healing power that we only can get from animals. And it teaches children at an early age about responsibility, about routine, about caretaking. And that's, a big part of this book as well. But really, the theme of this book is overcoming your fears. The main character is afraid to do something, and through her connection with an animal and through time and practice and patience, she overcomes that fear, and she's brave and courageous, and she does that on her own with the support of her mom, and just being in the presence of an animal. And I kept in mind the conversations that will come up throughout this book, which is why I included in the front of the book a letter to the reader, because I wanted to make sure parents are aware of, the conversations and my intention with the conversations of your kids saying to you, I'm afraid of X, Y, and Z. How do I work through my fear? Or what does it mean to be brave? I'm scared of this. How do I work through that fear? Or how do I tap into my bravery? How do I tap into my courageous side? And just being in nature as well. So those were all themes that were really important for me to, shine a light on in this book and in this story. And I'm really excited about it. And it's a story that I've always wanted to tell, because the bond that I had with this horse, Brandy, growing up was such a deep and profound one for me. And I think anybody who has a connection with an animal that has, really impacted and changed their lives knows exactly what I'm talking about. And so it was a way for me to celebrate my relationship and honor my relationship with my best friend growing up, which was a horse. And I spent so much of my time sitting in her stall and doing my homework, and especially going through adolescence at a time where I didn't feel like I fit in, or knew where my place was in high school or middle school. I always found myself feeling totally myself and at peace at the barn in my horse's stall. And so it was why I spent so much time there, and was such a huge gift for me. And I think, animals, the presence of animals is such a important gift to be able to give to people of all ages, and especially children. And whatever that animal looks like, or whatever size they are, is such a gift to have in children's lives. So
Yeah.
that's my overview.
I think I love how you said that, the gift in children's lives, but also you said other, really of any age. That's the
Totally,
beauty
at
of a
any
picture
age.
book. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it makes sense that there's such thing as emotional support animals, or therapy dogs, therapy cats. You see therapy horses, therapy goats, whatever the animal is. These animals are put in our lives and give us this sense of calm and sense of peace that I truly don't think that many of us can get anywhere else. So it's where I found my calm for sure.
I agree. As someone who has 5 dogs running around
Oh,
this
you get
house
it.
right now, I totally get it. The other thing that was really striking for me as a reader, and I would love to see what you think about this, is, reading it. I am a parent. I My kids are, they're old now. They're 18 and 21 years old, but they're still like two in my
Yes.
heart. But we've talked so far about what the younger readers might take away from this picture book. So many beautiful things. But I would love listeners to also know that the adults reading this are also going to feel it, whether it's a message that they still need, as an
Right.
adult, whether this book is talking to the adult's inner children, right, who still need it. What I really loved as a parent, though, that really made me stop and think was thinking about your mom and even Max, and just the patient, trusting yet cautious belief that they had in you to
Yes.
do this as well. That just shone through the pages, and I thought, oh gosh, your kids are gonna love reading this, but so's your mom.
I know. That's so sweet. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel really grateful to be able to, growing up, have the support of my mom to be able to have a shared activity with her that
Yeah.
allowed me to feel supported when I was afraid, and also supported when she would say, "You got to get back up on the horse when you fall off." And that, just that messaging translated into when I fell off a bike, getting back up, when I stumbled in elementary school, or even in high school and middle school when things didn't work out the way I had intended, making sure you try again and don't allow, you know, falling down to paralyze you in so many ways in life. So, I love that you experienced that while reading it as a parent, and that's definitely a goal of mine. And it's funny because the first time I read this book, I got the book physically in the mail last week, and my older daughter ran in and she's like, "Mom, is that your book, your real book?" Because the house, we've had kind of like a dummy copy of it where the inside is not actually my book, but the outside has the cover on it. And she picked it up, and I went into the other room and she was flipping through the pages and she was like, "Mom, I read your book. It's really great. You did a great job." And I was like, "Thank you. Thank you so much." And she just was looking at the pictures. But when I read the book to both of my girls that night for bedtime, because they wanted to, I did not force them to, but they wanted to read it. And it definitely made me like emotional to read the book, because as a parent now, you view things and like your own childhood experiences so differently. Like before, for me at least, before I had kids of my own, I was like, oh yeah, that all, happened growing up. Or yes, I had this amazing bond with a horse that, allowed me to feel like I could totally be myself around this horse, and I could, not have to deal with all of the drama of high school or middle school of trying to be someone that you're not, and really feel that I was totally loved and accepted by this horse at the barn and being in her stall and her presence. But now that I'm a parent, I read it and I'm like, you look at your kids and you're like, that's all you want for your kids, is just like to feel that they can, be themselves 100% and authentically, and to be in the presence of, animals and also people, to be able to do that, and to, be mindful of who's in their life to encourage them and allow them to feel supported in
Yeah.
all the various phases of life, and also the moments of having fear in life. And so I definitely felt that myself in an unexpected way, where I was like, oh, this lands totally different now
Yeah.
as a parent to a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old and now an 11-month-old. So it's always funny how that works, because these books, they might seem straightforward as a children's book, but it's like 2.5 years in the making. So it's like the time that's gone on. My girls were much younger when I first started writing this book, and now reading it to them at the ages that they are. And then also just, you mentioned inner child. It's like that is a whole conversation now that we have. If you've been interested in therapy at all, or had conversations around the therapy space and mental health space, it's like going back to your inner child. And reading this book definitely takes me back there, of course, of like, going to the barn with my mom, and just what a special experience that was, and what a huge gift that was, that I hope to be able to give to my kids as well.
Yeah. Well, and now you're giving it to millions of kids. Quite
And
frankly,
that's my
anybody.
hope. Yeah, it's really my hope is to be able to do that, and really just to like, again, shine a light on the power of a shared activity between a parent or a caregiver and a child, um, and be able to, have these conversations and have kids be interested in like the way that they feel around animals. And is that different than the way that they feel around humans? And, celebrating that unspoken bond, because you can't convince, you can't convince a dog to trust you. You can't convince a hamster or a rabbit to be calm in your lap. You have to just have the feeling and the energy and the connection through time and energy and patience. And it's such a rewarding thing to be able to experience. So I'm grateful.
I have a feeling too, on a more fun note, this book could spark a lot of conversation and maybe even some like opinion writing of why I should get a pony or a horse of
I
my.
welcome, I
I'd be
welcome
that
all of
girl.
those.
I'd be like,
Yeah.
Mom, look at this.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I welcome all those conversations. I also welcome people being interested in animals or having their kids be around animals for the first time. And
Yeah.
I feel really lucky to have also been able to experience fostering animals, which I think for people who like, listen, being around a horse is an incredible thing. It's not realistic for so many
Right.
people. So it's also making the very clear understanding that you don't have to be in the presence of a horse to benefit from the power of animals. You can foster a dog, a cat, a bird, a hamster, a rabbit. You can have a goldfish in your home. Like, it doesn't matter what the animal is. It's just being able to have that connection or that presence of an animal in your life or in your child's life. So I welcome all of those, little reporting conversations that will come from, like, oh, this book really shined a light on, the power of animals. I want to be able to foster an animal or get an animal or be in the presence of an animal. So I'm excited for that for sure.
There's so many beautiful messages in it. It really
Oh,
is a
you.
beautiful book, both in words and in spirit. And as we mentioned, the illustrations just have this beautiful dreamlike quality to them that are gorgeous.
Thank you.
So, where is the best place that listeners can find you online so that they can find out more about this book or go through your backlist, all of the things?
Well, I'm probably most active on Instagram, and that's just Katherine Schwarzenegger. And I post a lot there about this book and just about other work that I'm doing as well. And we'll do a whole, several different stops on this book tour that will be really fun and kid-friendly events. So that's really exciting to me. The book is going to be available November 4th to be able to get in local bookstores, but also if online is your preferred option, then Barnes and Noble, you can go on Target.com, you can go on Books a Million, bookshop.org, Amazon, of course. But supporting your local bookstores is also a great way to do it. And I'm such a fan of that. And I have such amazing memories of spending so much time in bookstores growing up. So I love being able to support them as well.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah,
Oh, well, thank you so much. I'm so glad to be part of the launch of your
thank you
beautiful
so
book.
much.
Thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
Of course, and thank you so much for your support. I'm really, I love hearing how you received the book and also the messages that came up and the things that came up for you as a parent. So thank you for sharing them with me.
You're welcome. And listeners, thank you for listening to another episode of KidLit Love, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the KidLit Love podcast. You'll find links to all of the books, resources, and ideas mentioned in the show notes and at alitlife.com. You'll also find KidLit Love on Substack. That's where you'll find posts for each episode, monthly KidLit roundups, and an invitation to join my summer book club and go deeper into the world of children's literature. And if you loved this podcast and want more, you might like to listen to my other podcast called Get Literate. It's a podcast that explores all things books and reading, notebooks and writing to build a life you love. One more thing. If you loved what you listened to today, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast or take a screenshot of the episode and text it to a friend. This helps the podcast grow and builds our bookish community of Kid Lit Love. Thanks for listening.